Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, Sergey. Thanks a lot for joining the discussion.
Hi, Misbah. Glad to see you.
Awesome. So, this is going to be a fun event for everyone tuning in. We have our special guest today, Sergey. He's joining from the AIML team. And we're going to be, talking through, many different, calling many different models. So that's the whole theme today. Um, from one API, call hundreds of models. And I think that's quite attractive topic in general, but also quite usable for many scenarios. So it's going to be a fun discussion, and we've got a bunch of demos. Also, Sergey was kind enough to have a notebook walkthrough as well as something that he's going to share throughout. So that's going to be fun. So, I think without further ado, we can get started. Actually, before that, Sergey, I'm going to quickly go through some of the housekeeping things over here, and then we can jump into discussion.
Sure, sure.
As usual, on the right side, you all can see that there are the options to chat. So if you have anything to chat with the group over here, feel free to. If you have any specific question for us, drop it in the question mark. So that's one tab right there where you can actually ask question, and we can actually show it on the screen so everyone knows what question are we talking about. Other than that, there's also an option to answer polls or so. We might not have that many, or maybe not today, but most likely you'll go between the tabs for questions and then the chat. Yeah, that's about it. With that, Sergey, would love to hear about yourself and what AIML API is doing, and then also, of course, the demo.
Sure. Um, so I'm Sergey. I work at AIML API as a developer relations head. Basically, anything that is connecting with the community is on me. So like hackathons, open source bounties, we have some exciting ones. Then articles, Discord server, and also developer relations means that I have to connect business side with the development side. So whenever a client has some troubles with our business development team, they just call me on the call. I hop in, explain some stuff. So we have quite a few exciting things to announce. I think you guys will be the first ones to hear about the open source bounty and the hackathon bounty, which might be interesting to you.
Oh, wow.
But first, yeah, let me show what's the product about. So we've got just one API, just one, but it includes a lot of models, which includes also ChatGPT, Claude, text to speech, speech to text, anything you can come up with, pretty much we got it. We have some exclusions for sure, but then some very feasible, strong replacements. This, of course, includes the open source models like Llama 3.1 and Mistral. What else is important? Like OpenChat, maybe? Yeah. So let's go quickly through what we've got. We like to boast that it is 200 plus, yet we are nearing 200 right now. It will be probably more than 200 whenever like the next people see this on YouTube or somewhere. Yeah, it is around, I think, 186 right now. And it is pretty neat way to use it, where you will see during the live. So we like to boast that it is a faster performance. Of course, the servers are more or less similar to everyone else in the industry, but with such a wide range of models, you can specify for the task really quickly. It's very easy to do. Just substitute like GPT-4o to Llama 8b, I don't know, and it is much quicker. So that's why we boast this number. Uptime is 99.9 actually, and support is in Discord. So what about the actual models? Yeah, the part that's interesting about us. Um, those I think are from the previous generation, but yeah, let's go through them quickly. If you just scroll, you see a lot of very different things. Guanaco, Quen, of course. Quen is for Asian market is very important. But here are the basics. So not everything is included here. If you want to see all the models, you have to call an API and ask for all models. But the basics are present here. So moderation models are, of course, very important. We have included an OpenAI moderation model too. I think so. If not, contact me on Discord. I'll add it within a couple of minutes because OpenAI is connected with our API strongly. Then music generation, we got embeddings. Those are the ones that will be used, I think, in week 3 of Langflow Hackathon, if anybody is here from the week 3. But we have much, much more. So I think BERT is one of the models, then SBERT. So like 4 or 5 more models. The language and chat is pretty much the same thing. We've got llamas, Claude. Yeah, let me just show it for you. Bam, like this. Yeah. And the cool part that you will get to see today is that they are very easy to swap between each other. We have the full functionality of Claude. So I think we recently added OCR, but the whole image recognition stuff and the quality of generation is there. There is no rate limit, unlike most actually of other providers. So that is cool. Then, yeah, because I said Claude, just a sec. Imogen, we have Delhi. We are planning to add many more models, but you can get the basic overview here. So like Stable Diffusion is there and so on. And voice models from DeepGram. Yeah, those are state-of-the-art, speech to text, text to speech. The best things out there. So if you want to look out for comparisons, we have them here. For developers, we've got docs here in an API reference. We have a playground, as any LLM provider nowadays does. Yeah, I think it isn't its very beginning. We are very developer focused. Yeah, so an AI playground wasn't top 1 priority. I'd say it is in its early stages, but many non-developer folks love it. So we keep pushing out new features and upgrading it. I think for you, the most important parts would be the docs. So we've got quite a few. Everything is mentioned here, how to connect all the stuff. And I will send you, actually, Misbah, can you showcase it right now? Like the Google Collab, the notebook, yeah?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, and for folks who might be new to platform, they'll probably see a button at the bottom which says AIML API. That was the website. I'll showcase the Google Colab. So yeah, Sergey, it should be visible in a second.
So this is the demo that we prepared for our clients, which I guess if you check it out and you like it, you are. It has text to speech, speech to text. Not everything is out there. I think there is now music generation and image generation. Computer vision is not also there, but a huge bunch of our functionality is just present. So you can input your AIML API key and just try it out. Yeah. So in terms of documentation, the cool part is that you have this endpoint, then you like substitute the smaller parts, and you can just keep sending. It's like one product that allows you to connect to any part of AI field that you would love to. Yeah. And we are reg compatible for those of you who want to build some frontier stuff. Yeah. So this is the basics, I'd say. The docs, of course, join us in Discord. So we do have a Discord community, and there you can actually just hit me up and ask me for tokens if you want to try it out. We also have a promo code AI API that allows you to buy 1 week of our product just for $1. I'm typing it in right now. There you go. So AI API just without spaces. upon registration, you can input this, your credit card. It will just ask you to, if you are ready to charge, get charged $1 for the access to everything. And then, yeah, that's an 80% discount. And even then, if you don't think like it's enough for you to try it out truly, again, I'm always there for you in Discord. Excited for your feedback for everybody who's going to check it out after the stream. Yep.
Wow, this is awesome. So, folks, discount for everyone joining the session. So this is awesome. Actually, Sergey, I've been through some of the models, but I didn't realize that there's also image generation option, music generation option, voice, and this is quite nice. I think I need to
Yeah.
test with those models as well. I really like. I mean, I've been using recently AIML API for different projects. I mean, again, the simplicity of just taking one API key and then changing as many models, especially in Langflow, we have option. You can select between all of the models for LLM calls or embeddings or so. So that's very nice. Makes it very easy.
Yeah.
For
That's
the
our
notebook,
goal.
Sergey, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is there anything specific about the notebooks, Sergey, that you want people, or is it just to try out or test out
I
the one
think
that
it's
you shared?
just some of the basic stuff. I left some comments there for people to check out. I think we will showcase some of the functionality today with you, but there is no text to speech. I think in our showcase in text is and speech to text. Those are quite important for accessibility reasons and multiple others. So we actually had I think, blind client approach us, and he wanted to see the full range of what would be necessary for him. So this is a demo we've collected for him. Everybody will just need to register. You can do it for free. You can get an API key, and it will allow you to make 10 requests per hour. So either that or enter the promo code, whatever is reasonable for you. Yeah, and then you will be able to
Perfect.
try it out.
Very nice. And yeah, if there are any questions for Sergey, feel free to drop it in the chat or in the Q&A section. A couple of things I had in mind, Sergey, in general about interacting, and I'm going to go to the demo in a second. So these models, right? How do they differ in terms of calling directly through their API, right? So let's say, for example, if there's a multimodal use case, I want to send an image and get some information about it. Um, how does that look like in terms of latency, in terms of the compatibility of doing these multimodal calls within AIML API versus
Yeah.
calling something directly like Claude or OpenAI or so?
We try to keep latency very competitive, very low. So I guess the only time waste would be the generation itself. Yeah. But switching between models, sending different calls is for us. So we did make the backend infrastructure so that it handles all the API calls like without any rate limit cuts, without any latency. So that's the whole idea of us. So
Mhm.
you just send different API requests to different endpoints, yeah, with us, and that's it.
I see. Perfect. Great. Okay, so yeah, if there are any questions for Sergey, feel free to drop in the chat or Q&A section. I'll kind of go through the demos that I've got, Sergey, if that's fine, and then we'll
Sure,
jump
let's
into
go.
the Q&A section.
Excited.
Awesome. Let's do it. So it's one of the areas we're working very closely. So AI ML API team and our team at Langflow, looking at different areas where we can support the community. So one of the hackathons we jointly sponsored was the Lab hackathon, where there were many amazing use cases and demos that came out of that. So that was really nice. And then after that, we worked together on a hackathon for the community in Brazil. So it's a hackathon in Portuguese, where again, AIML API team is collaborating with us to help provide access to these models. So it's a great working together with the AIML team. And yeah, we have a few different, I would say, demos internally, but also wanted to showcase how one could work with the API. So, kind of taken from where Sergey left, if you have your API key, which you can go to the website AIML API, and within that you can generate your API keys. I have some of these generated. I hope these are not the full ones, or I can actually reset after this
You will
discussion.
have to
So I
100%.
Okay, sure. So I'll disable those. So basically, you create your API keys, copy that, bring that over into the Langflow interface. So people who are joining, most likely you have uh, been with us, or at least you have seen the interface. Once you start Langflow, you'll see this canvas when you start a project. So what I did basically is I started my Langflow instance. I started a new project, and within this, I actually just, for to make it easy, went to this section where I created my folders, and then that's where I had this flow. And within this flow, I search for AI ML API. So there are two integrations available right now. One is for calling the LLM models, and the other one is to generate embeddings. So both of those are active and you can use in any of your workflows. So what I did is I brought in this particular block, gave my API key, so I set it in there as a global variable. And not just that, what now I can do is I can select from the hundreds of models available within the platform, and it's very convenient. I can just go onto any model, see what's the output from that. So for example, let's do that together. I have it's connected to the usual example that we do in the live stream, which is a prompt template which says answer as a pirate. You have some chat input coming in where I'm just saying hi as the first text input, and then I'm looking at what's going to be the output. So let's run this. So what happened over here is it took the input, sent it to the model, and then I get some response back as a pirate. So great. Now, changing this to any model, as mentioned, is quite simple. Just you can go in, select any other model, and then run the flow. Um, you can do other things like, of course, just chatting or looking at your memory. Some very interesting things that I found was, let's say, for example, in this particular flow, I wanted to compare how a model from Meta, so Llama 3.1 that came out not too long ago, compares to something from Mistral, right? So this is a use case many folks ask, right? Can we compare the output from different models? So the interface over here makes it super simple. So what I did is I gave a file. It's an article, a research paper, and I parsed the data out of that, so we can see that this is the dense cap paper, and it's the whole paper. The text out of that is extracted, and that is parsed. It's sent through the prompt to these models. So what I'm going to do is I'll just run the up to here, up to this stage, so we know what's happening. Actually, before that, let me go through the template. Template is very simple. It just says answer user's question based on the document below, right? We provide the document and we ask the question. So the question is what we're going to be providing here. So what was the training data? So in this paper, I'm going to run this. Now what's happening is it took the extracted data out of that, and it should be available in our prompt. The output for some reason is showing very small for me, but I can zoom in. Let's see. Okay, hopefully that is visible on this screen, but I think, in summary, what it's doing is just taking the text from the paper, sending it all together with the prompt that we had. Now, the task for our models is to answer based on the paper we provided. So I have these two selected. What I'm going to do is I can run individually first to see how they perform. So I'll just freeze everything before, so we know the extracted text is available, there's no surprises, and then I'll just run first chain to see what happens. And then it's going to call the API, get some response back, and then we can see that the training data that was used is this particular set and what it contained in that data. Same thing. Now I can compare that with the other model from this group over here from Mistral. This is quite known for their 7B model. So I'm going to run this and see how that performs. And again, the calls are very quick, and again, the comparison, you'll see in a minute how quickly it does. So it goes through again, and then it extracts some info and provides that answer. Now it's up to the user to confirm the results. So it's always a good idea just to see, cross-check with some of the questions that you might know the answer for. And then get just compare it against the answer provided. Last about I think a week and a half or so ago, we talked about another platform, LangWatch, which makes it quite easy for you to generate these questions and answers and compare the evaluations. So feel free to check that video out where we talked about scoring these answers. So now what I'm going to do is just to compare both of those together. I'll back here. Let's see, actually, let me refresh. Oh, okay. For some reason it's okay. There we go. I think it just did not like the mousepad zoom on this screen. So what I'm going to do right now is I will go to the playground and ask the same question, right? Just to show you how the comparison could look like. Okay, what was the training data in this case? Hit enter. And then what happens is it goes to both of the models. And then as soon as that is available, it should provide us with response. So we get response from both of these models, one after another. And now this could be 5 different models, and then all of those can give the response that you're looking for, and then you can compare it with the scoring that was mentioned to see which one is doing the best job for your particular case. So this is another use case, just answering questions from a document. A third one that I thought about is just general, right? So if you have a question about writing a blog post or writing some sort of code for a particular use case. Now, in that case, you might have heard, oh, Llama 3 does a great job, right? Llama 3.1 that came out for certain code-related questions, or perhaps to write human-like articles or so. So again, in those scenarios as well, one could run through the whole flow that you already had, just swap out the block that you had for a provider with the AIML API, and then select the model that you would like for you to test or run in that particular flow, and then you can basically get your answer. So again, the simplicity of selecting from multiple models and then running your use case, I think it just makes life very easy. So I just wanted to mention that to folks. If you are playing around with different models or different use cases, give it a try with the available options here. So yeah, I would say it's quite short in terms of the demo itself, but we'll kind of go towards question answers. If there are any specific use cases or any questions, we'll take those. So I see that there is a question, Sergey, in the chat. So what's the privacy policy and related technical solutions from AIML API? How are users' requests handled, and how it can be audited to be sure these requests are properly managed without sufficiently defined solutions? So yeah, basically around privacy, how's that handled?
It's a good question. I get to ask this a lot. So for enterprise clients, we do hire independent auditors when there is a necessity for that. But of course, the basic policy is that we just don't store your requests. We have no way of accessing them. We just work through them with LLMs and send the result back to you without saving anything. So that's the policy of our product. But I guess if you would We are not open source, so if you wanted to go through the whole code, there is no such option with us. But if you can come up with any better way than just hiring independent auditors from time to time, it will be actually a great asset to us, because especially in Europe where we are based, it stresses out everybody. Even that we have OpenAI in our lineup, it raises a lot of trust issues here in Europe. So yeah, but the basic policy is that we just don't store your requests.
Thank you. Our next question is about tweaking the models in Langflow. So perhaps, yeah, let's give it a try. So in general, the parameters, those are available for you. So any of these nodes or blocks or components in Langflow, you can tweak them while calling the API. The way you can do that is if you build your flow, then if you go to the API section, in here, you can go to the tweak section and you'll see the options available. So let's see how this block looks like. So the options over here are the model name, and the API key and a few different options below that. So now we can see that there's an option to change this. So what I'm going to do is I'll just perhaps select just one of these models just to see how that looks like in our API. I can come back here and then we see that this particular component, now we have an option to change the model name. With that, you can provide any of the models those are available that Sergey went through early on. So yeah, within tweaks, you can tweak that and then run in different APIs with that particular tweak. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions. So Sergey, just curious about the models themselves, right? So there are many different models which are open source as well. I mean, are you connecting it with the provider who hosts them, or you have them hosted? 'Cause I think I saw Llama 3 come out on the platform quite fast, right after
Yeah,
it was announced.
we rent the servers usually, but we self-host the models that are also used by our enterprise clients. So usually it is the ones that are quite popular are accessible directly through us. That's the usual policy, yeah.
I see.
And the
Very
general
nice.
open source policy is that, yeah, we rent the servers, and from there you can get them from us because we like an aggregate thing. But most of them, yeah, we are planning, because the thing is, like, we don't have $100 million of investments. That's not the Western European way, yeah, or Eastern European, yeah. The goal is to build business first, and innovation comes to it. So we're trying to improve the user experience, developer experience, and getting clients for that mostly. Yeah, and
Mhm.
the rest, the necessary parts are built first, and then the rest is on top of that. We're not trying to make our own models that there is no like demand for. We're not attempting to build something like innovative, maybe in a way. We are like, let's say, we're more like Google in terms of that there is already like Yahoo and other providers, but we are trying to just do that but better. That's the whole goal. So we do have access to a lot. I think that it's hard to compete with our lineup. Yeah, it can be
Mhm.
done in certain spots, but as again it was said in chat, it's pretty awesome for fast prototyping, and I guess the higher the bigger we grow, the more models we host ourselves, the more improvements we make. Yeah, it is pretty good what
Mhm.
we did already. Most clients are happy with that. The music generation is pretty unstable, to be honest with you. Sonar API is awful, but the rest, it's spotless. So the idea is to make it better and better in small iterations.
I see. No, very nice. I mean, I was quite surprised the speed of how you all implemented and made the Llama 3.1 available. So that was quite nice. So yeah, a
Even
couple
the
of
405
questions.
B, the
Uh-huh.
bigger model,
Oh, wow.
the
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, a couple of questions are again in the chat. How can we implement iteration with agents in Langflow, specifically how can we design a project manager agent that issues order to other agents in parallel. So maybe I can quickly show a place where you can start. It's one of the templates available, and one could build from there. And certainly we can, use one of the office hours to build this particular use case if you like. In general, if you were to start with one of the newer versions of Langflow, you'll notice that there are a few templates available in here. So you can take in the question, it's about the manager agent or so. So you can take one of the hierarchical task agents, and in here you'll notice that there is a crew available, and this crew has a particular component which is looking at the hierarchical crew. And in here we have manager, and then we have the worker agents. So any of the agents that you attach to the agents node, all of these become workers. And in this particular case, we have research and editor. And then if you were to attach something to the manager agent, then you'll have the manager. For each of those, you can assign a goal, backstory, role, as you can do for any of the crew AI agents. In addition, for this particular crowdcast, I would say swap the generic one that we use, LLM, to something available from AIML, and then you can run that with many different models. So hope that answers, but certainly I think what we can do is we can have a whole session on these agents. Definitely, it's a very fun topic and a lot of excitement around it.
Do you save those demos somewhere, Misbah? Because I would actually like to access it for our startup. I think a lot of it is
Yeah, actually.
is very invaluable.
No, definitely. I mean, some of these are templates, but the other ones, I tend to post them to the store. So if you were to go to store, then we can push that. So anyone with access to Langflow, they can push models or components or flows to the store. So I'll get that, and yeah, happy to share the links of the flows in the community.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
Perfect. So yeah,
We've
go
got a
ahead,
couple
Sergey.
questions for me. Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
So, do we have documentation? Have I sent it to you actually, Misbah? Can you showcase it, or I can send it to chat directly? That's fine by you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we have the AIML docs. This is the answer to support Latin. Yeah. So we have docs. We have Discord server that is mostly working as a support server. I'm active there like, well, most of my working time, most of my working day, and the most important questions are solved in the tickets category, because like in support and chat, people spam a lot of questions about music generation, and the changes to that will be rolling out next week. But a lot of features are coming soon. That's not the question. Yeah, how do we support the developers in chat, in Discord, in documentation, and what languages are best? I think it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, it's just API calls. Yeah, so this is a very widespread, common technical layer. Everybody knows how to make an API call. The front end devs, the back end devs, and of course any AI devs. That's just the main idea. And in docs, we try to detail what endpoints you need to use and what parameters. After that, basically, your interaction with us is done, and you start the development process. Then next question is, what are the main capabilities in terms of natural language processing and text generation? Are there any known limitations that developers should be aware of? Well, basically, no. As always with AI, it is a very front-facing product. What you know right now about any AI product is what you have to know about us too. So you have to be aware of some biases. I can give you some tips and tricks, maybe, that Quen is better with Asian languages, We know that Mistral is better with, I think, with French. Yeah, Llama is pretty good with Turkish, I heard. So those are the tricks I can give you. But yeah, beware of that. Also, like if you're trying to use it directly, try to fact check it. But language processing, there is not too much to be aware of. Then how do we scale scalability in terms of managing a high volume of requests? Well, we have plenty of scalability. This is one of the selling points of us. So like any startup can take us at the beginning and scale till the end, basically. So I don't know. With so far, there was no enterprise client who would give us their volumes and surprise us. So if you will be the first one support Latin, I will be glad, and we will be glad to accommodate you. Yeah, so we can make changes to infrastructure, although it is sturdy as is right now. Yeah,
Great.
suppose those
I
are
believe
the main
there's
points.
yeah, there's another question as well, Sergey, in the Q&A portion. So it's about the price. So how does the price compare to the original providers? Yeah, in AI/ML versus something like OpenAI.
OpenAI and Anthropic, there is a markup, and open source models, well, there is none. It is more direct. It is pretty convenient from time to time to use us directly, and with all those like promo actions, with all those like promo codes, tokens that I give out in Discord. But yeah, if you plan to only use OpenAI, it is there is not much necessity to switch into us. But if you, for example, were trying to use Llama 70B and OpenAI and wanted to swap it easily between one another, then of course, yeah, Llama 70B is 10 times cheaper. And whatever the usage percentage is on GPT-4o, for example, for you, it still makes financial sense to keep using us for this Llama 70B layer and keep GPT-4o for like some purists or premium users. I don't know. Llama 405B right now is beating GPT-4o in multiple regards. So this is just a way to attract a wider audience. For us, open source is the main thing. Yep.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I would suggest if having some sort of layering, right? And this is also something we showed in last few weeks where you can route your requests. If it is something basic, then you can route to one of the open source models. If you want it to be something where, for a specific condition, you want to use an OpenAI model or Claude or so, that then I think in that case, you can route it as well. So in that, you save costs, but also you can still maintain the quality of your application.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is just for
Perhaps.
the it's just for
Mhm.
the I don't know how to say it, for the convenience. Yeah. Of course, it's more reasonable to take the API directly from the providers, and it's yeah, the convenience part of it is the only important one, and the open source. That's what we like.
Definitely. Awesome. There is a recommendation in the chat. Andreas, I think mentioned that to train an AI on your documentation, allow users to ask questions directly within documentation. Perhaps it goes to both Langflow and to AIML API. That's an excellent recommendation. We had
Yeah.
a certain way of chatting with the docs before. We just need to update that and also make it where it's available for everyone. But yeah, certainly I think this should be available in all of the docs, I would suggest.
Yeah, yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense because the docs are not that long. Yeah, just use
Great.
directly. Yeah.
So any other points or discussion or anything that you'd like to mention, Sergey, before we end?
Oh yeah, the open source bounty, the hackathon bounty, and open source bounty. So
Oh
we're
yeah.
going to launch it within a week. Basically, the idea is that there are not that many projects that are open source but integrated with something other than OpenAI, and we want to give out to the developers, but also be integrated ourselves. So, like Langflow is an open source platform; it could qualify for it, and any other even smaller projects. So it's upwards of 20 forks. If you have that, basically you can, right now, if you want to participate, you can contact me in Discord, or just after a week we'll announce it. The rewards are, I think, up to $1,000 in cash, basically. Yeah, but also
Mhm.
affiliate links, stuff like that. Any type of additional support we can give is on us 100%. And same with hackathon. So like if you have ever won a hackathon, or if you want to win and use our product doing it, uh, do so. Please contact me, get free AI tokens. Let's go. Let's do it.
Awesome. No, this is amazing. So for the first one, Sergey, you mentioned that for any open source project, they can reach out to you for that particular case, or is it some sort of place where people fill out a form or so?
Right now, it is just our official accounts in like X, LinkedIn, and Discord. Yeah, that's the
Perfect.
basics. You think we should add a form just that people can apply and go ahead? Or just, I think it's better to talk directly if somebody's interested.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would suggest latter, where you can interact with folks. But I guess if you just get overwhelmed, I think then you can have a form for people to
Sure.
fill out. But yeah, at this stage, yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
people can reach out directly. No, awesome. This was great. And for again, people to follow the docs, or just kind of who are following along this whole conversation, please do visit the AIML website and Discord, and you can have discussion, reach out to the folks at the AIML API. If you have any questions about the Langflow community, reach out to me or to on our Discord channel. Happy to answer those. We'll keep it short this time. And if you have any additional questions, again, reach out to one of us. There is I think, one last quick question, Sergey, before we end. How frequently are the models updated or improved, and what mechanism criteria are used to determine that?
So right now, we only update the models if the, just a sec. Yeah, wanted to sneeze. So right now we only update the models if there is like something wrong with them. Like with Llama 8B, there were some quantization troubles on launch, and they were updated, I think, a day or two after the launch. So this is a reasonable enough expectation to fix it. Yeah. But other than that, updating models, when something big comes out, 100%, when there is enough community requests for it, those two basically are the ones. And if some enterprise client requests something, usually we also open the model to public so that they can access it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, this was great, Sergey. Thanks a lot for joining, and thanks everyone for joining the discussion. There was, I think, tons of questions. We love it when it's quite engaging. So thanks again, everyone, for joining, and you all have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, based on different parts of the world you're joining from. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and thanks, Sergey.